By the time King Maekar Targaryen rose to the Iron Throne, he was in his 40s, with his wife, Diana Dane, having died sometime between the years 201 and 209 AC, meaning he was a widower when he became king. Strangely, as a reasonably young man at his wife's death, Maekar never remarried, which is something that could have been expected of a man in his position. While we can never know the true reason as to why he never took a new wife, one theory comes down simply to the number of Targaryen princes and claimants to the throne alive during the reign of Daeron II, and into that of Aerys I. It was part of the reasoning of Maekar's son Aemon being sent to the Citadel to become a maester, to limit the number of claimants. Even after the death of Diana and the ascension to the Iron Throne of his elder brother, King Aerys I, the succession still seemed more than firm and nowhere near Maekar's line. Given Diana had given Maekar 6 children, it is also possible that he saw no practical need to take a new wife. Thus, despite the tragedy that allowed Maekar to become his brother's heir, the succession through his line still seemed secure in his 6 children. The first of his children was Prince Daeron Targaryen, who was born in 190 AC. He was often called Daeron the Drunken, given his well-known alcoholism. Despite his issues with drink, Daeron was one of the rare Targaryens who had prophetic dragon dreams. Some claim the dreams and the things he saw were the reason behind his drinking. Daeron did not look like your typical Targaryen. He had sallow skin, sandy brown hair, and a blonde beard. He was also not much of a knight, disliking horses and swords, and avoiding any martial pursuits at all cost. In the year 209 AC, the then Prince Maekar sent his sons, Daeron and Aegon, to the tourney at Ashford Meadow, hoping that Daeron would give a good account of himself. While drinking at an inn, Daeron encountered the hedge knight Sir Duncan the Tall, and told him that he had dreamed of him, ordering the knight to stay away from him. Aegon, who wanted to participate in the tourney, stayed incognito during this time and asked Duncan if he could be his squire. Though Duncan denied him this, Aegon left the inn and followed him to Ashford. Maekar sent Sir Roland Crakehall of the Kingsguard in search of Daeron and Aegon, then left Ashford himself to search for them both. When Daeron was found, he told his father a huge robber knight made off with Aegon, and that he had spent the whole time pursuing them. The lie added evidence against Duncan after he was arrested for assaulting Aerion Targaryen, who had demanded Duncan face a trial by 7. Daeron apologised to Duncan for lying, saying he had not noticed Aegon was gone. He also said he had dreamed a great dragon would fall on Duncan, dead, but the knight would walk off alive. While Daeron did not know what it meant, he did know his dreams came true, and that he was frightened of Duncan. Daeron also informed Duncan that he would not fight in the trial, and after the first charge, he would stay on the ground and would also withdraw his accusation. In the trial, Daeron was unhorsed by Sir Robin Rysling and did as he had promised, staying on the ground. But his own horse stepped on him, possibly breaking his foot, but otherwise Daeron was uninjured. Nevertheless, it turned out that Daeron's dream was a true prophecy, as Prince Baelor Breakspear died from injuries sustained during the trial. When Maekar ascended to the Iron Throne in 221 AC, this made Daeron the Prince of Dragonstone and the heir to the Iron Throne, though he preferred to be called the Prince of Summerhall, as he considered Dragonstone such a gloomy abode. Daeron went on to marry Kiera of Tyrosh, the widow of his cousin Valar Targaryen. Their daughter Vaela was born in 222 AC, and proved to be a sweet but simple-minded girl. Sadly, Daeron died sometime before 233 AC, reputedly from a pox he caught from a whore. Maekar's second son was Prince Aerion Targaryen, born in the year 191 to 194 AC. He became his father's heir after the death of his elder brother. He is known in the history books as Aerion the Monstrous, or Aerion Brightflame. In his youth, Aerion was slim and of average height. He had curly, silver-gold hair, deep violet eyes, and pale, unblemished skin, a much more traditional look for a Targaryen than his older brother Daeron. Aerion's face was said to be sculpted and imperious, with a high brow, sharp cheekbones, and a straight nose. He frequently wore clothing as bright as fire, in red and yellow and gold, and a black cloak bordered in scarlet satin. Even his horse was dressed in slashed orange and red fabric to look like flames. Aerion is often cited as one of the most clear examples of the madness that can affect members of House Targaryen. Cruel and arrogant, he thought he was a dragon in human form. Aerion was despised by his younger brother Aegon, who considered Aerion an inveterate liar. According to Raymond Fossaway, the prince was all smiles and courtesy in front of his father, but Aerion's true nature showed in front of others he deemed lower than him. Prince Daeron Targaryen also thought his brother was quite the monster. In the same year of 209 AC, Aerion also travelled to Ashford for the tourney at Ashford Meadow. He challenged Sir Humphrey Harding in the lists in the opening day of the tourney, but during the first run, he lowered his lance and instead of striking Humphrey's shield, impaled his horse, causing it to crash and fall atop Humphrey. The horse died in agony, and Humphrey's leg was injured in what was deemed a hugely dishonourable act that shamed his father Maekar, who was furious at his son's actions. Lord Ashford awarded Aerion's charger to Humphrey as payment for the death of his horse, which infuriated Aerion. That night on the tourney grounds, a puppet show portraying a knight slaying a dragon offended Aerion, as the prince felt he was a dragon. He had his men-at-arms destroy the puppeteer's stall and their puppets, and deliberately broke the fingers of one of the puppeteers, a Dornish girl named Hansel. Sir Duncan the Tall, who Aegon, Aerion's brother, had called for help when the commotion started, then attacked Aerion, punching him and kicking him in the stomach and teeth. Aerion's men apprehended Duncan. It was only when Prince Aegon ordered them to stop they obeyed. But Duncan was arrested for striking a prince of House Targaryen. Aerion demanded the head of the Hedge Knight, which Prince Baelor would not allow, but could not deny Aerion a trial by combat. Aerion demanded instead a trial of 7, which Prince Baelor could not deny him. During the trial, Aerion put his lance through Sir Duncan's side and struck him from his saddle with a morning star. However, Sir Duncan refused to yield and used his skill as a brawler from the streets of Fleabottom to beat the prince down, hitting him in the head with his shield until the crest of his helm broke off. When Duncan threatened his eye with a dagger, Aerion yielded and withdrew his accusation. After the conclusion of the tournament and the death of Prince Baelor Breakspear, Maekar sent Aerion to Lys, in the hopes a few years in the Free Cities would change him for the better. Aerion stayed in Lys for a few years. It is rumoured that during his time there, he fathered several children. However, the truth and extent of this can never truly be known. It is also said that he served with the Second Sons, a well-known sellsword company, for a time while in exile. Aerion returned to Westeros at some point before the year 219 AC and the onset of the Third Blackfyre Rebellion. While the details of his exact role are not clear, it has been said he performed some actions that became the stuff of song for a while. After Aegor Rivers, a key Blackfyre general, was captured, Aerion and the Hand of the King, Lord Brendan Rivers, urged King Aerys I Targaryen to put Aegor to death, but the king decided to send Bittersteel to the Night's Watch instead, a fate which he escaped, scurrying back across the Narrow Sea to plan yet another rebellion by House Blackfyre. Aerion was married to his cousin, Daeron Targaryen, the daughter of his uncle Rhaegal Targaryen. The marriage would result in one son, born in 232 AC, a boy they called Maegor, a foreboding name given the reputation of his namesake. The same year as his son's birth, Aerion Brightflame died screaming after drinking a cup of wildfire, foolishly believing that it would transform him into a dragon.